Hello. When is the ideal time to start with bilingualism, or when should I help my child acquire a new language? There are two potential answers to this question. The first one is, it is never too early or too late to start learning a new language. Therefore, now is the best time. And the earlier the better. The second answer is, it depends. It depends on your goals with a language for your child, yours and your child's life situation, other languages in play, or how long do you want the language to be in the life of your child. Now, let's look into those now. Here, we need to think about the whole situation of the family and life, and not only the language independent of the happiness, play, school, emotions, willingness, and readiness of the child. And that's why the name of this channel is Happy Bilinguals. Let's discuss the first answer a bit. Now is the only time we have, so if you really want to include a language in your child's life, in your family's life, just do it with a bit of planning. It is never too early. As long as you have the ideal environment for a language to grow, you can introduce another language as early as possible. Why not? Now, this is important. Research suggests that a minimum of 20 to 30% of language exposure and input of the waking hours is required to reach a good level of bilingualism, and which is around 2.5 to 4 hours every day, or 14 to 28 hours every week, and depending on the sleep duration, of course. I will have a separate video on the ideal environment for bilingualism as well, so please stay tuned. So if you have a good environment in one language, at least one language, or in two languages, a third language can also start very small or at a high level, or at least doesn't hurt. You start with input. There's a certain level that it doesn't help either with the bilingualism, but the exposure, the input is too low, but at least it doesn't stop it or it doesn't damage the other languages, so don't worry about it. And many researchers talk about the critical period of language learning. The research also mentions that the critical period where the so-called language acquisition device is in work. But the upper age limit of the critical period is extended over the years. When I was a teenager, I thought it was like until the age of 5, and then you wouldn't be native anymore, or it would go south by learning not that fast, or you would forget whatever. And now I heard then no, it's not just that too early. It's around the age of 8 or 9, and then even that the speed of the learning is very fast. And if the children start very early to learn a language, and they could have the native capabilities, and then it just extends, and the last research I've read about it was like the teenage years even. So we have a lot of time. Language learning is a long-term journey. So just get going in the right way, of course. Depending on your goals, again, each family's situation and goals are different. And there would be exception to the rules as well. So these are just the generalizations the research suggests. I also know a few people who started with a language quite late in adulthood and still have almost native, or you might also say close to native capabilities in the languages they picked. So it is a good belief that it is never too late to start learning any language. There is a comforting thought for the parents who are raising bilingual children, although they are non-native speakers of the language. And I respect you a lot. So it is also for you to consider that you might also start learning and improving your language with your children. Now, is the earlier the better? Research suggests that with the years the language learning ability decreases. So it is a general principle that if it is possible for the family, start earlier with the language acquisition. Now, this doesn't mean that if a baby starts with 2 languages at birth, simultaneous bilingual, and another baby or a toddler now starts with the age of 2 with the second language, that is the sequential bilingual early language acquisition, the simultaneous bilingual will have an advantage forever. So research suggests that the sequential bilinguals cover the language gap around the age of 9 to 10. Maybe there are exceptions, of course. And some researchers claim that the sequential bilingualism gives the advantage to the minority language, but it might create some concerns for the readiness for kindergarten and school success can be negatively affected because there is a language gap. The research has not concluded what is better from the timing point of view by the time I shoot this video. Because, please, if you know something else, just write on the comments so we'll all learn. But I haven't found anything supporting whether the simultaneous bilingualism or the sequential bilingualism is better in terms of the language acquisition. But I invite you to look at the perspective take a life perspective and not only language perspective to it, because in the long run they can both be very good at language skills, but the topic here, which is very close to my heart, because I don't want any child to go to the school with a disadvantage in a language. And please think of the, introducing at least the country language, the community language earlier, and so that they pick it up fast and they start even with an advantage to the school and not maybe with a lack. So because the community language of the country, depending on the educational system, some children, especially if they have immigrated to the country newly, they might start with a disadvantage to the school. And because I will especially think about the whole context of the life, whole context of life and happiness of the child, and not only in terms of the language skills, I want to ask you kindly to just help your child a lot to cover this gap. Not at the expense of their other languages, heritage languages, but a bit of putting in the additional effort to cover the gap of language, starting with kindergarten with a bit of additional effort, and if starting with school. The language gap might affect the confidence of the children, how they feel, academic success, how many friends they have, their social relationships, all their life. Language is a very important and integral part of anybody's life, academic life and social life. So let's not let our children have a disadvantage at school, but rather that they are superheroes with very good skills in all the languages they're speaking, and very soon, and the bilinguals can do that. Now, please note that there are exceptions to any of these, generalizations. The second answer is, it depends, remember? It depends on your goals with a language for your child, yours and your child's life situation, other languages in play. Now, what are your goals for your child with a language? And what is the time frame you're visualizing them? Speak the languages you want to help them or acquire or learn. Just think for a moment, please. You can stop the video in this moment and then just think and picture them now and in a few years' time. What is the last age you thought about? It's cool to visualize them, speaking 4 languages at the age of 4 and 5. Leo did that. Did you visualize them speaking 4 languages in an adequate level with 20 or with 30 or with 40? Being bilingual, in my view, can be discussed at different ages. The bilingualism of a child is around the skills and capabilities of a child. And the languages grow as the people grow. Hey, it's not your truck, it's my truck. Or good morning, or how are you? I'm fine. Sentences would be enough for a 3-year-old. Whereas if you're thinking about a 20-year-old being a bilingual, it would require sophisticated jokes, different context, other arguments, and another level of communicating with that language. So I invite you to, determine your goal, and based on that, if you can introduce another language, so you don't only have the job to support them with the introduction of a new language, but maybe the actual task is to keep up with the growth of the languages they already speak, that are already in their lives. And if you would think of the ideal environment, the exposure hours, especially in the early years, should continue at least around 20 or to 30% of the waking hours. So you may be introducing a limited number of languages with very, very good intentional and a lot of effort in the early years. But after a child speaks the language quite well, they can learn many other languages. So there is no hurry either. Research suggests that after 10 years, if a person is bilingual until the age of 10 in a language, the complete forgetting of a language wouldn't happen anymore. And I literally met one of these people. So Adnan, a friend of mine, a colleague of mine, was raised in Switzerland until up to 10 years, and he went to the primary school there, and then they went back to Turkey. And he never ever heard German, spoke German, read German, and further write German. And after more than 20 years, when he went to Germany, this time for work, he didn't know any German. And the company offered him German classes so that he would not only work in English, because his English was quite good, but he would also be able to communicate better also in German. And after around 3 to 4 weeks, whole German of Adnan came back somehow, some trigger in the brain with a Swiss accent. They will always have the chance, if they wouldn't use a language anymore, our children, to come back and improve their language whenever they want in their lives. So for me, the target is to really keep up with all these 3 languages for us with fun and love, at least until the age of 10. So that Leo is eager to continue to enjoy them. In this video, we discussed the 2 possible answers to the question of when is the best time to introduce a new language? When is the best time to raise a bilingual child in different aspects? The first answer is now, and the earlier the better. And the second answer, simplified, is it depends. Each family situation and wishes are different, and You know what's best for your children. These are some thoughts to help you with some of the parameters to help with your decisions on this. Thank you very much for listening. Please like, share this video and subscribe to our channel in the link below. And if you want a quick look into the options of how to get fast results with a system customized for you, just visit our website, happybilinguals.com. Thank you and have a great day.